I'm a rabbit.
I fucking love pancakes.
Titty bar.
Fluffed up and side on.
There's no P in for G.
Sexy. I've made you a chili. Get your dick out.
Wanted.
I quite enjoy it.
What? Are you fucking crazy?
I think you just took it too far.
Oh my god! That's so wanted. Hello, and welcome to Swipe Match Marry, the modern relationship and dating podcast.
I'm James.
I'm Marny.
And I'm Steve.
Join us as we explore love, life and dating in the modern world.
Has the internet ruined dating?
How do you find and define your sexuality?
Do we have to adapt to find love?
We're going to be discussing all of this and more as we attempt to unlock the code of dating culture.
Let's get into the show.
Hello, welcome to Swipe Match Marry. Bit of a different episode this week. We're about to have a Skype chat with a very special guest. So if the sound isn't what you're used to, that's why, but we hope you still enjoy the episode. Thanks very much.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Swipe Match Marry.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, we are super excited today because we are not only doing our first Skype interview ever, we are also joined by Matt Eastwood, who is a London-based dating coach. Hi Matt.
Hello.
Hi, Matt.
Hello, guys. You alright?
Yeah, we're good.
So Matt, where are you right now?
I'm literally in Shoreditch in London right now, so you can probably hear some cars going past.
Yeah, we've got a bit of hustle and bustle, but it's sort of quite nice and ambient.
It is. It gives it kind of a natural feel. I don't really like to sit in a room and do this and feel stationary. I like to have a walk around and see a bit of London. But yeah, my phone is literally on 18% battery, so I'm literally walking to a Starbucks right now to try and charge it. And do this interview. So I love it, guys. I love it.
Cool, perfect. So, can you just explain to us what it is you do?
Yes. So basically, I'm a London dating coach. That basically means I teach people about dating and relationships, specifically, more importantly, how to meet people. So I'm more focused on men meeting women. So I teach a lot of men how to meet women, how to attract women in terms of the daytime and in terms of nighttime. So that could be anywhere from a bar to a nightclub, a coffee shop, a bookshop. I don't have as many women clients normally because I'm marketed that way in terms of teaching men. But I do teach women how to meet men as well.
And do you think that's because there's a lack of market there and women don't need the advice as much?
I disagree. I actually believe there's a very, very big market for it.
Okay.
There's a very big market for it. There's in fact some incredible, there's some great books out there from certain dating coaches who market that way in terms of women meeting men. And, you know, they're absolutely killing it in terms of how much business they get. But when I started off this, I learned this trade from someone that taught men how to meet women. So that's all I know for now.
And so how long have you been doing it for?
I've been teaching for 3 years now. But I've been learning sort of like the whole dating and sort of like interacting dynamic for about 5 years now.
So when you're teaching somebody, is there like a main thing that is quite common with teaching men how to date?
Yeah, so I think, you know, I've spoken to a lot of women about this, and a lot of women don't believe men get nervous around approaching a woman. That, like, if it's in a nightclub especially, they believe every man can approach a woman. But when I work with clients, it's the number one issue that they have is that they feel a sense of nervousness around approaching a woman, mainly because they feel they'll be rejected or they feel they'll be humiliated or it'll just get awkward because they run out of things to say. And that's one of the biggest hurdles I have to work with.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you there because I can't speak to any girl on a night out in a club.
Can you not?
I get so scared. I feel sick inside if I have to do that.
Yeah,
Why is that, mate? Why is that?
I think it's, like you say, the feeling of feeling rejected, but also I don't know. I mean, I'm getting nervous talking about it now.
You're not on a date, Steve, don't worry.
No, not a date. But yeah, I think it's that feeling of feeling rejected, and because you don't know who that person is or what they like or what they don't like, you kind of get scared.
I think that's more reason to approach that person, to be honest. If you've known someone for 5 years and then you show your intent and say, you know what, I actually quite like you, I'd like to go on a date with you, and then they reject you, I feel that's more personal. Whereas say like you've met a girl that night or that afternoon and ask her out for coffee, when it's a rejection, it's normally because A, they've either got a boyfriend or they're engaged, or B, they just feel there's not that connection there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't build that connection in, say, 5-10 minutes of talking to them. So, yeah, although it's kind of a rebuff and it's a kind of a rejection, it's not really, because you've not spent enough time with that person for them to fully understand who you are.
I really like that. I think that's really interesting.
It is.
Matt, so tell us more about yourself. Like, are you quite a confident dater? You said you were on a date this evening.
Yes, so basically, I'll give you the backstory as to how I'm on this interview now. This morning I was doing some work and I was messaging you guys, checking how you are, and this girl walks into the coffee shop, this like very curvy girl, and I'm like, oh, that's just my type. And she orders like a coffee or something. I run out the store and go talk to her, get her number and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm leaving London tomorrow because I'm in London right now.
Oh, wow.
But she was like, do you fancy drinks tonight? I'm like, cool.
Easy.
Cool. So I met up with her this evening. We've had a couple of glasses of wine. She's now at dinner with her friends. I'm meant to be at that dinner, but I was like, I want to spend some time with you guys.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I told her to order me a steak, and I'll join in when I'm ready, I guess. But yeah, so I did that this morning. So yeah, I could say I'm a confident dater now. I've sort of learned how to interact with people. I've sort of become more socially developed.
Yeah.
But if you'd have asked me this 5 years ago, for example, I wouldn't have had a clue how to talk to you guys or your listeners, and I wouldn't have had a clue how to talk to women, to be honest.
So it's something you've really like taken upon yourself to develop and get confident with. It's been a goal of yours.
Absolutely. Because when I was about 9 years old, I developed a stutter.
Right.
Like very severe, very like Gareth Gates style. If you don't know who that is, that's like a guy that's on Pop Idol.
Oh, we do, don't we?
It was very much like that. So I couldn't even speak to people generally. So when I was about 16, I really just wanted to learn how to speak to people in general, to be honest. Because I remember my first ever date, I set up on a blind date with some guy I went to college with. It was him and his girlfriend, and me and this really tall girl that I didn't know. And I remember I just couldn't even get out the words.
Oh,
you look nice. You look nice today. I couldn't even get those words out. And I just felt completely depleted. So after I got through my stutter, I was then like, right, okay, I'd like a girlfriend now. I'd like to be able to actually go on some dates. So I found out about dating coaching and people teaching this stuff. And yeah, I enrolled on a course and became friends with the instructor and things like that. And he taught me pretty much everything I needed to know, really, until I became at a level where I could teach it as well.
So you were his protege then?
I am his protege, yes.
Brilliant.
And he reminds me of that every day.
Yeah,
yes.
I bet. So actually, one of the questions we wanted to ask you was how being a dating coach has affected your own dating life. Clearly, how has being a dating coach affected your dating yourself?
It's kind of a strange one when you tell girls that you are a dating coach.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, if you're talking to a girl in a nightclub and she's like, what do you do for a living? And you're like, oh, well, have you seen the film Hitch?
Right.
And they're like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, I do that.
So you're Will Smith?
I am basically Will Smith, but a less attractive version. So it's quite a hard one to swing, to be honest. And I went through a phase of lying about it for a little bit, and then I thought, I help people out, I get them over their like social anxiety and help them with their confidence. So now I just completely say it outright,
Great.
This girl knows that I'm a dating coach. She knows I'm talking to you guys, and yeah, she's cool with it. She's telling her friends about it now. So
amazing.
I'm fine with it.
And
yeah.
do you feel pressure? Is there a pressure that comes with it?
There's a little bit of a pressure with it, because obviously if you're So part of my teaching is that I have to show guys how to get numbers, how to get a kiss from a girl in a nightclub, or even take them home, for example. So I have to be able to demonstrate that. So the pressure comes from being able to do that and constantly being able to do that. So I find if I haven't been out, do you have that? Do you know that term, out?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. We use that all the time. Out.
Awesome, I love it. So if I've not been out in a while and I've not been interacting with people, I get quite rusty.
Right.
And that can affect my quote-unquote game for a little bit. So the pressure comes in that I have to constantly be charismatic when I'm talking to a woman.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes I do just like to eat some pizza and just watch a film.
Yeah, be normal.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
So I kind of have to force myself to go out a little bit. But that's the only pressure that I get really from this job, to be honest.
So, Matt, you mentioned that the majority of your teaching is to men, but sometimes women. Now, is that always straight? Do you have any gay clients?
I've had 2 gay clients my entire life.
And how does that differ?
Personally, I find it a lot easier, to be honest.
Right.
I find it a lot easier.
I wonder why that is.
For some reason, so with the gay clients that I had, the only 2 that I had, they really was just, they was very young, they was about 18, they just started the clubbing scene, and they was afraid that nobody would like them. And the 2 clients that I had wanted to lose their virginity that night.
Oh, blimey.
Gosh.
Wow.
No pressure on you then.
No, well, I found it quite easy, to be honest. I didn't see it as a chore, to be honest. I thought it was possibly the easiest coaching session I've ever had.
Maybe they just needed that little nudge from someone.
Well, because what you find in any nightclub is people want what they can't have. Okay. So people want a Ferrari more than they want a Ford Fiesta, for example, because it's more desirable, because there's less of them. Okay. So for these 2 clients, I took them to a bar called Heaven in London, which is a very big gay bar. It's got a lot of people that go to it at the weekends.
Yeah, we know it.
And good. I'm glad you know it. And I basically told them to kind of act straight a little bit. And that basically, by that, what I meant is don't be overly sexual with people in the nightclub. Don't be staring at guys. Don't be sort of doing lingering looks. Don't be dancing too much. And what you noticed is that guys were checking them out more. Guys were like giving them the eye more. And so all they had to do was just be like, "Hi, I'm Scott," or "Hi, I'm Liam." That's not their real names. And you'd find that it was actually just a lot easier for them to meet, because the people in that club want what they can't have. So in any sort of nightclub, if you can give someone something that's more desirable than the average Joe, generally you will win, or generally you will get what you want.
So it's like less is more, perhaps?
Less is more in terms of like how much you can give. So, for example, a theory is if you go around a nightclub and sort of high-five everybody and say hello to everybody, you're seen as very sociable. Whereas I see that as very try-hard.
Right.
So like the owner of the club wouldn't do that, for example. People would come say hello to him. So what I do is I teach people to kind of have fun by themselves and not need the other people. So people are attracted to that.
I guess it's a bit like that thing, isn't it? When you're in a relationship, like you're suddenly desirable because you're unobtainable. So I guess acting a bit unobtainable, a bit more exclusive, it's putting yourself in that field.
The person that needs it less will always win.
Right.
So if a client of mine really, really wants to have sex, or he really, really likes a girl to the point where he's emailing me every day, I always say to him, "Man, you're not going to get her. You're not going to get her. Or you're not going to get him."
Right.
You need that sort of distance a little bit. You
kind of got to learn not to care then, maybe.
You do in a sense. I feel you still need to show intent. So if you're seeing a girl, you need to be like, hey, you know, you look nice today, you know, I noticed this about you. But you need to want, not need. If you need it, you'll come across as needy in terms of you'll over-text or you'll show a bit too much interest. And that's just not attractive, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we've all had those people that text us all the time, and you just don't resonate with it because they're a bit like, oh, it's a bit annoying now.
Yeah.
So you don't really want that in a guy or a girl, for that matter, you know. So you need to show a little bit of that distance with people.
Amazing. So do you go? Is it your services? Do you go out with people a lot and help them almost like on the job, or what other services do you? How else do you teach it?
Yeah. So basically, I often do a lot of public speeches in and around London and a bit around Europe as well. I do like Skype coaching as well. So if like someone's very, very far abroad and they just want to ask me a few questions on like some advice or like some theory on like what to say to a girl, then I offer that as well. But I'd say 90% of my coaching is me going out with a student to a nightclub all the daytime and getting them actually to talk to women, because the advice is already out there. But what you find is mainly they need that push. They need that push of me saying, right, go talk to her. It's like there's a lot of gym advice out there on like how to lift weights and how to eat right, but sometimes you need a personal trainer to be like, right, we're doing 10 sets now.
That's true. It's like a hand holding in a way.
So yeah, it is kind of like that. It's like hand holding. It's like just basically pushing them to do it really and holding them accountable for doing it.
Oh no, it sounds great.
And can I just ask, how do you think that this kind of boom in dating apps and our obsession with social media has affected dating? Has it changed it?
It's a very strange one, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you guys, because of what I do, and I interact with a lot of people. I've only been on one date from Tinder.
Right.
That's probably not something you guys want to hear.
No,
that's great.
We want to hear that. That's really positive for us because we're we're not anti-Tinder, but we're a bit disillusioned by it.
Well, personally, I find from from speaking to clients and speaking to girls about it, what I find is now we're obviously becoming a very visual age. You know, we've got things like Instagram, we've got things like Facebook, where like pictures are ranked higher than just like text. And with Tinder, obviously you're only seeing the profile, really. People say, yeah, there's a lot of facts in the bio, but no, really, it's just about the pictures, the 5-6 pictures that you're allowed on Tinder. So what I find is, obviously, the guys that have been to the gym and the guys that look like Zac Efron obviously do very, very well. But what you find is that the nice guy, the guy that, you know, girls might really want, or, you know, guys might really want, they're not getting a showing, really, because they don't have those optimized pictures, because they don't have the six-pack abs or something like that. Well, I don't have a six-pack, by the way. In fact, I got told I look quite fat today, to be honest.
Oh, no!
Oh, mate.
Oh dear.
Yeah, like, I had a load of carbs for dinner. And
whatever. We're eating pasta after this and drinking wine. Don't worry about it.
Nice, guys.
So
nice.
Matt, is there some universal things that that you know you could give advice? I mean, you know, obviously you're a paid service, but are there just some little like tidbits that you could give us and our listeners?
No, man, I'm happy to give you everything. Happy to give you everything. Big fan of the show. Big fan. So basically, for guys, what I would say, I'll do this for both. So I'll do it for guys and girls. Okay, I'll start with guys. Guys have to be masculine, okay? No doubt about it. I think there's a big thing, especially in like the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years, where they think the Hugh Grant type figure, the sort of bumbling figure, is attractive. And I think that's true to a certain degree. I think when you're like 21, you could be shy and a girl will find it attractive. I think when you're 35, however, or 45, it's not really going to cut the mustard. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
I feel you have to be a lot more masculine. So, for example, like let me put this into like an example. When I started learning this stuff, I met up with a girl in Piccadilly Circus. I went on a date with her, and she was like, "Where are we going?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll let you choose." You know, I was thinking I was being really nice, And she was like, well, I don't know the bars around here. I was like, okay, well, what do you like? Do you like cocktails? Do you like wine? And she was like, I don't really mind. And I just kept kind of asking a little bit, and I was just kind of waiting for her to give me an advice. And then I'd take her there and be the nice guy. Whereas in what, in fact, I should have done has just been like, okay, we're meeting here. We're going to go here, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this.
So more direct approach.
I think that's
more
better.
direct. And it's mainly because people like someone that's stronger. Someone likes another person that takes responsibility and kind of like leads them almost. And it's basically a sign of strength, and it shows a lot of masculinity as well. So if you kind of like, look, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, it shows a lot of confidence, shows a lot of assurance in yourself, and it's kind of like you can take the lead if shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
So people will look up to that a little bit. So my first bit of advice for guys is always try and lead it. Always kind of be like the dominant force.
Okay. And if you could give a bit of advice for a woman, what would that be?
The number one bit of advice I'd give for a woman is mainly... okay, I'll give two bits of advice because I think both are very important. Number one, I would say never approach a guy directly. So
interesting.
Never go up to a guy and be like, hey, you're really cute, you know, can I take your number, or, you know, what's your name? The reason behind that why is because it's a very masculine thing to do. It's a very confident thing to do. And a guy wants to feel more masculine. Okay, that's sort of like our biological need, I guess. So if you're chatting up a guy, it kind of removes his main aim in that he wants to do it as well. So say you see a guy in a coffee shop that you think's really cute. What I would say is go up to him and just say, "Oh, can you hold my handbag for a second? You know, I'm trying to find something." I guarantee you that guy will hit on you. I guarantee it. Okay. But what you've done there is you've kind of handed the power back to him a little bit. And it's mainly because guys want to feel like the masculine force, like they've done the work, you know. Whereas if you just go up to a guy and say, hey, you know, do you want to have sex? He probably would, to be honest. But he wouldn't feel as, he wouldn't feel as good about it. He kind of likes the chase a little bit as well. Secondly, if you want a guy that's very high value, so a guy you find very attractive and you feel like, you know, I wanna date him, I don't just want to sleep with him. What I would say to him is put him through like some little tests. Okay. Again, this comes down to confidence as well.
Yeah.
But if you just kind of accept anything, you kind of get nothing. Okay. So, kind of say to him like, oh, you know, how old are you, by the way? And if he says, you know, I'm 28, just be like, oh, okay. Well, I normally only date guys that are at least 30. You know, make him work for a little bit, okay? Because then...
So you're like giving him a challenge?
You're giving him a challenge, and so if he jumps through the hoops, generally he will value you more. And, you know, if he can't match up to, you know, if he can't stand the heat, you know, he's clearly not enough of a man to really deal with you. So I would always say, don't approach them in a direct way, and make them sort of qualify themselves a little bit, really.
Cool.
No,
So
good advice.
men should be proactive and women should be subtle.
Yeah, men should be proactive. The reason why, and this might be a controversial statement, I feel Tinder favours women more than it does guys. And you know, when I teach classes of like 15, 20 people, you ask them, like, you know, how often have you flirted with someone this month? And they're probably like once or twice. And you know, me, I probably do it like, you know, a couple of times a day. And
Every interaction.
Every interaction, even if it's like a barista in a coffee shop or something like that, I'm always flirting, just because I like to keep my skill up. But out of that, if you add up all those interactions, out of a year, out of a whole 365 days, there's probably like 1 to maybe 5 girls a year that I'd probably consider girlfriend material.
Okay.
Interesting.
So when a guy's like, I've only flirted with like 1 girl a month, or, you know, oh, there's this 1 girl that I really like at work that I've been speaking to for 3 months, and they're like, I want that to be my girlfriend. part of me's thinking, okay, well, do you actually really know what you like? And I think a lot of divorces and I think a lot of breakups are around people not actually knowing what they really, really want in their ideal partner.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So Matt, thank you so much for talking to us. Just before we say goodbye, can you just tell our listeners about how to get in touch with you? Are you on Twitter? What's your website? Things like that.
I think Twitter's only for Donald Trump now, to be honest.
Oh, sure.
I'm trying to move away from that one, guys. You can contact, there's my website, www.matt-eastwood.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, Matt Eastwood. YouTube as well. So if you just type in Matt Eastwood into YouTube, I've got a whole bunch of videos and advice on there. Or you could just drop me an email, info@matt-eastwood.com. Just say hello, just say you listen to the podcast. And I'll give you some free advice.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys.
And are we allowed to talk about this possible Netflix series?
Yes, you may. Yes.
Go for it.
So yeah, basically, I filmed a documentary around about November time last year, and it's a very big documentary on the whole dating scene and about people that are dating coaches. And part of the thing that I was doing was I had to teach a blind person how to talk to women in the daytime.
Wow.
God, that's hard. Wow.
It's very inspiring to do. Basically, he would hold my elbow around Trafalgar Square, and I would say, "Oh, there's a cute girl over there," and then I would sort of position him in a way, and I'd say, "Right, you can talk now," and then he would just start shouting up these girls.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very inspiring to see, and it makes you sort of like, when you come with all your insecurities of like, oh, I'm not tall enough, I'm not good looking enough, you kind of like think, oh well, if he can do it, or because he's blind and he's actually got really real problems on his hands, and he's sort of doing this anyway, you kind of think to yourself, oh, maybe I'm just a bit of a pussy, to be honest,
So we can look forward to seeing that soon, can we?
Yes. So for you that can't speak to women in a nightclub, I would say watch this documentary.
Great.
That's coming out, because he's talking to women and he's killing it. And that might help you with your confidence issues in a nightclub.
Brilliant.
What's it called, Matt?
It's called The Dating Game. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. I'm not entirely 100% sure because I'm not that side of it.
But we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, guys, yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for giving up your time. Get back to your date. We really appreciate you talking to us.
Guys, it was an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you so much. Enjoy your stay.
Having me on, guys. Thank you.
All right, you take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have fun.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
What a thoroughly nice chap.
Yeah, lovely man. That was really interesting.
I seriously think I need to give him an email.
I was thinking that.
What about Steve?
Yeah, kind of like, Steve's really recently just said that he finds it really difficult. You've always said that, in fact, that you find it really difficult to approach girls in any kind of scenario, and he's basically just said that's what you need to learn.
Yeah.
And as much as
like
the feminist in me kind of hates to admit that that's a thing, but certainly when I've been on dates in the past and someone's gone, "Ooh, where do you want to go?" "Ooh, I don't know." I found it so wishy-washy, it's dreary. Mm-hmm. And actually a lot of women, like myself, are kind of managers and kind of very forthright and bullshit people in their jobs, and sometimes I don't want to be like that in my personal life.
You kind of have to be in London, don't you? There's a very much like it's an effort to walk around the city and to get from A to B. So when someone goes, "Oh, I don't mind," you're like, "What?" Like even like on a non-dating level, I find it a bit strange.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I was honestly thinking, I feel like Steve and Matt should like have a hookup and he should help you out around Trafalgar Square.
He said quite a few things that we've talked about. You said you don't like talking to girls, and you've said before you're not the most like masculine of people, which I think is a lovely thing, and that's nice. And what I thought about talking to Matt is that I think some of his tips are sort of going back to sort of an older values about putting the man in a sort of masculine position and a woman in a position of need, which is probably quite of a weird thing to hear.
It's a bit caveman, isn't it, really? Like that's the way our biology is.
It does all go back to instinct.
I guess it does,
And to niche.
And those early days in dating are really instinctual, aren't they? Like the feelings, do I like him, do I not? They're all very like, you know, they're not necessarily thought out. It's a gut feeling, it's a reaction.
Yeah. Maybe we should have like a swipe match marry drinks.
Yeah, with Matt.
And just all go out with Matt.
Yeah.
And then
see what happens.
See what happens
we'll
the next
go to bloody
morning.
golf like we keep saying we will.
Can you believe those two 18-year-old gay boys that just wanted to lose their virginity?
Bless them. That's really cool.
18 though, chill out.
Is that
Not to
allowed?
rush. Yeah. Well, is that? Yeah, it's allowed, but
But a lot of that's probably tied up in coming out and all of that, kind of all the emotions that you know very well that you've again recently discussed. So, maybe they just feel like they've got to tick that box and get past it.
yeah, it's really interesting. It was really like sort of changed my viewpoint on it, because you just think, I guess because of the movie Hitch, you just think it's a bit of a like a laugh or a joke, but it's actually like an actual serious thing, and people obviously need the help. And I like that he said that there's already books and media and stuff out there, and the best approach he has is to go to clubs and bars with these people, and actually, you know, like a personal trainer. As soon as he said that, I was like, get it.
Understand.
Yeah,
Absolutely
me
get it.
too.
Like a counsellor, personal trainer. It's like I think that's cool. That's really cool.
No, good work. So if you do want to get in touch with Matt, like you said on the interview, you can see him or meet him at www.matt-eastwood.com.
And it's on
good.
Facebook too.
All of that. Thanks very much for joining us. See you next time.
See
In
you
a
next
bit.
time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Swipe Match Marry. Remember to subscribe using your podcast app so you don't miss out on any future episodes.
And why not write us a review? It's quick, easy, and helps us improve our ranking in the iTunes store. If there's anything you want us to cover, send us a tweet at Swipe Match Marry.
As always, we hope that next swipe leads to a match, and maybe even a lifetime of happiness.